For a moment, imagine a world where your daily food choices quietly repair your body, slow your aging, and extend your life far beyond what you thought was possible. Because according to some of Japan's oldest doctors, this world already exists, and it starts with just a few simple foods eaten every single day. They say that if you understand why these foods work, and you eat them consistently, you might not just add years to your life, you may add life to your years. And today, you're going to discover exactly what they are, why they work, and how the world's longest living people use them without even thinking about it. When Japanese doctors talk about longevity, they don't begin with fancy supplements or extreme diets. They begin with an idea: food should act like gentle medicine. Not a quick fix, not a cleanse, but a quiet, daily nourishment that keeps your body young from the inside out. And the foods they recommend are surprisingly simple, almost ordinary. But the science behind them is anything but ordinary. It starts with one thing they see over and over in their oldest patients: people in their 90 seconds and 100 seconds who still walk without assistance, cook their own meals, and laugh with the energy of someone decades younger. These patients almost always share the same pattern. The first food on their plate is something plant-based, fresh, and rich in natural fiber. It might be a bowl of miso soup filled with seaweed and tofu. It might be a handful of sweet potatoes, steamed until soft and eaten with nothing more than a sprinkle of salt. Or it might simply be a small serving of green vegetables, eaten slowly and mindfully. One Japanese doctor, now well into his 90 seconds, often explains it this way: your gut is the garden of your long life, and what you feed it determines how long your internal engine can keep running. Foods rich in fiber, like sweet potatoes, seaweed, and natto, do something remarkable. They nourish the trillions of tiny bacteria living inside you, bacteria that help control inflammation, digestion, immunity, and even your mood. When these bacteria are happy, your body ages more slowly. When they are starved, inflammation increases, cells wear out faster, and aging accelerates. And this is why the Okinawans, people famous for having one of the highest life expectancies on Earth, start nearly every meal with vegetables or plant-based dishes. One of their secrets is the humble purple sweet potato. It's packed with complex carbohydrates, antioxidants, and slowly digesting energy that keeps blood sugar stable. Stable blood sugar is one of the most underrated keys to longevity, because every spike and crash creates tiny stresses inside your body, stresses that build up over decades. There's a story about an Okinawan woman who turned 102 and was asked what she ate every day. She laughed and said, "I'm not sure about every day, but I do know I've eaten sweet potatoes since I had teeth, and even after I lost them." Her point was simple. It wasn't about perfection or strict dieting or starving herself. It was about consistency, a lifetime of small, steady habits. But sweet potatoes are only the beginning. Another food Japanese doctors emphasize is seaweed. Not the kind sitting inside sushi rolls at Western restaurants, but the traditional varieties: wakame, kombu, hijiki, used in soups, stews, and side dishes for centuries. Seaweed contains minerals the average modern person rarely gets enough of, especially iodine, magnesium, and a surprising amount of calcium. These minerals help regulate hormones, support nerve function, strengthen bones, and even help prevent cognitive decline. One doctor tells his patients this: bones don't age because of time, they age because of neglect. And seaweed is one of the foods that quietly prevents that neglect. The gentle iodine supports thyroid function, which affects energy, metabolism, and how quickly or slowly your body wears down. Magnesium calms the nervous system and helps regulate sleep, something every centenarian seems to value deeply. And the fiber in seaweed acts like a broom, sweeping waste through your digestive system and keeping internal inflammation low. But perhaps the most surprising food on their list is fermented soy, specifically natto. If you've ever smelled natto, you know it's definitely an acquired taste. But Japanese doctors don't recommend it because it tastes good. They recommend it because it contains something rare, an enzyme called nattokinase, that naturally thins the blood, reduces clot risk, and supports heart health. And heart health is one of the biggest predictors of how long you'll live. Natto also contains vitamin K2, a nutrient that helps calcium find its way into your bones instead of your arteries. It's a natural insurance policy against osteoporosis and arterial calcification, two things that often shorten life expectancy around the world. Some doctors joke that if people could get past the smell, many more would live to 100. And then there's green tea. But not just any green tea. In Japan, the oldest doctors recommend sencha or matcha because they contain powerful antioxidants called catechins. These catechins help protect cells from damage, keep the brain sharp, and reduce chronic inflammation. You often see older Japanese people sipping cups of green tea throughout the day, not as a trendy drink, but as a habit woven into daily life. One cup for energy, another for calm, another simply because it feels good. There's a beautiful rhythm to this way of eating, nothing extreme, nothing restricted, just foods that support the body naturally, gently, and consistently. And these foods don't just extend life, they improve the quality of that life. Energy stays steady, digestion remains smooth, memory stays sharper, joints stay more flexible. Doctors notice these patterns every day in their oldest patients. But there is one more secret, something often overlooked when people try to copy Japanese longevity habits. It's not just what they eat, it's how they eat. Older Japanese doctors often explain that eating too quickly or eating until you're stuffed puts stress on your organs. Instead, they follow something called hara hachi bu, a simple phrase that means stop eating when you're about 80% full. This alone has been shown to reduce calorie overload, protect the liver, and keep metabolism functioning efficiently. And when you combine this mindful eating with the longevity foods they swear by, the results can seem almost magical. Lower inflammation, better immune response, a healthier heart, stronger bones, longer life. But this story is only beginning because Japanese doctors don't just stop at plants and tea. In the next part, you'll discover the other foods, some unexpected, some incredibly simple, that they insist are essential for anyone who wants to live past 100 with a clear mind and strong body. They often say the first signs of aging dawn and appear on the skin. They appear deep inside the body in places we can't see. And one of the greatest protectors against this internal aging, according to Japan's oldest physicians, is a surprising category of food that most people don't pay much attention to: the quiet, clean proteins that support muscle, repair tissues, and keep the body strong well into old age. When do sea tours in Okinawa or rural Japan examine their healthiest 90 and 100-year-olds, they notice something fascinating. These elders rarely eat large portions of meat. Instead, their protein comes from light, easily digestible sources that don't overwhelm the digestive system or burden the heart. The most common one is fish, but not the deep-fried, heavily seasoned fish many people are used to. They eat small portions of grilled or lightly simmered fish rich in omega-3 fats, like mackerel, sardines, and salmon. Omega-3s do something remarkable for the aging body. They reduce chronic inflammation, improve blood flow, and protect the brain from cognitive decline. Japanese doctors often talk about how their oldest patients remain surprisingly sharp, remembering names, holding conversations, and solving problems well into their 90s. And they credit omega-3 seconds for this mental clarity. One doctor shared a story about a 98-year-old fisherman who still wakes up early to mend nets. When asked how he stayed so mentally sharp, he simply shrugged and said, "Fish feeds the brain." Science agrees. But fish isn't the only gentle protein they rely on. Another staple in long-living communities is tofu, soft, easy to digest, rich in high-quality plant protein, and low in saturated fat. Unlike many heavy animal proteins, tofu doesn't create digestive strain, and it doesn't trigger the inflammatory responses associated with certain meats. Instead, it provides steady energy and supports muscle health, which is crucial because muscle loss accelerates as we age. There's a quiet power in tofu. It's simple, unprocessed, and versatile. You'll often find it floating in miso soup, grilled lightly with a brush of soy sauce, or mixed into warm dishes that comfort the body. Japanese doctors say tofu acts like a clean fuel for the body, something your organs appreciate over decades of eating. And then tea. Here's one food that almost every centenarian in Japan eats, whether daily or weekly, without even thinking about it: mushrooms. Not the exotic, expensive kinds, but common varieties like shiitake, enoki, and maitake. Mushrooms are deeply respected in Japanese culture, not just as food but as natural medicine. They contain compounds that support the immune system, help regulate cholesterol, and even have anti-cancer properties. Shiitake mushrooms in particular contain a compound called lentinan, known to enhance immune function. Doctors often point out that their oldest patients rarely struggle with chronic infections, and they believe their lifelong intake of mushrooms plays a big role. One elderly woman who reached 101 joked that she never caught colds because the mushrooms caught them first. These foods, fish, tofu, mushrooms, form the foundation of what Japanese doctors call lighter proteins. Proteins that energize the body instead of weighing it down. They help preserve muscle strength, protect the heart, and keep the brain functioning smoothly. And they're eaten in small, consistent amounts, not oversized portions. But protein alone can't explain Japan's incredible longevity. There's something else, something deeply rooted in their culture, that doctors point to again and again: the power of fermented foods. Earlier we talked about natto, but it's only one part of a much larger picture. Japan's oldest people regularly eat foods like miso, pickled vegetables, and fermented plum known as umeboshi. These foods don't just taste tangy or savory. They introduce beneficial bacteria into the gut, helping digestion, boosting immunity, and keeping inflammation low. In fact, many Japanese doctors say that the gut is where most diseases begin, and fermented foods are the tools that protect it. When the gut is healthy, the entire body performs better. Nutrients absorb better, energy stays stable, and the risk of chronic disease drops dramatically. Miso soup is especially beloved among older Japanese, a warm, simple broth filled with probiotics, minerals, and amino acids. Many elders drink it daily and describe it almost like a gentle healing ritual. One 96-year-old retired teacher told a researcher, "Miso is what warms my stomach and keeps my spirit calm." Modern studies now show that fermented foods like miso support heart health, lower inflammation, and may even help protect against certain cancers. And then there is umeboshi, a sour, salty fermented plum known for its strong digestive benefits. Some centenarians eat a tiny piece every morning, believing it keeps their digestion strong and their body balanced. While it may seem like a small habit, it's these tiny daily rituals that accumulate into decades of health. As you begin to understand these foods, a theme becomes clear: Japanese longevity isn't built on extremes. It's built on gentle consistency. Light proteins, fermented foods, natural fibers, simple minerals, quiet nourishment repeated day after day. But we're still missing two huge pieces of the Japanese longevity puzzle: foods that directly influence the blood, the heart, and the immune system. These are the foods oldest doctors insist should be part of your daily routine if you want to live to 100 or beyond. There's a saying among Japan's oldest physicians that goes something like this: a long life depends on the smooth flow of two things, blood and breath. And the foods they recommend next are all about protecting those systems, keeping the heart young, the circulation clean, and the immune system strong enough to defend the body for decades. One of the most powerful yet overlooked foods in Japanese longevity culture is something almost every household keeps on hand: ginger. Not in the form of overly sweet dyes or syrups, but fresh ginger root, grated into soups, sliced into tea, mixed into dressings, or added to simple home-cooked meals. Ginger has been used in Japanese medicine for centuries, not for flavor but for what it does on the inside. It warms the body, improves circulation, and reduces inflammation at a cellular level. Many older Japanese people begin their morning with a small cup of warm ginger tea, believing it awakens the blood and strengthens the immune system. Modern science reveals something similar. Ginger contains compounds like gingerol and shogol, which help relax blood vessels, thin the blood slightly, and support smoother blood flow. For an aging body, this is priceless. Better blood flow means better oxygenation to the brain, reduced strain on the heart, and lower risk of clots, one of the silent killers in older adults. One 99-year-old man from rural Japan told a visiting doctor, "Ginger keeps my heart calm," and though he said it with a smile, his blood pressure readings over the years backed him up. Another essential longevity food Japanese doctors swear by is garlic. Now, this isn't unique to Japan. You'll find garlic revered in long-living cultures around the world, from Italy to Greece to Korea. But Japanese garlic consumption tends to be gentler and more frequent. Instead of eating huge amounts occasionally, they consume small amounts almost daily, stirred into miso soup, grilled lightly with fish, or mixed into dipping sauces. Garlic contains allicin, a natural compound that supports heart health, lowers cholesterol, and helps maintain healthy blood pressure. Japanese doctors often say that garlic keeps the pipes clean, a simple way of explaining how it helps prevent the buildup of plaque in arteries. When arteries stay flexible and clear, the heart doesn't have to fight to do its job, and aging slows down dramatically. One Dr. W. Ho treated several patients over 100 years old, noticed a common pattern. Almost all of them used garlic in cooking nearly every day, not because they believed it was a superfood, but because it was part of the flavors they loved. And that's one of the subtle secrets of Japanese longevity. Their healthiest habits are woven into enjoyable daily routines, not forced as chores. But heart health is only half the story. Japan's oldest doctors also pay special attention to foods that strengthen the immune system, foods that protect the body from chronic disease, infections, and the slow wear and tear that comes from decades of environmental stress. One of the most powerful foods for this is something incredibly simple: citrus fruits. Japan is famous for its small, fragrant citrus varieties, especially the yuzu, mikan, and kabosu. Many of these fruits grow naturally in rural regions, and their bright scent and flavor are part of daily life. Older Japanese people often enjoy a small citrus every day or use its juice in dressings and teas. These fruits are packed with vitamin C, flavonoids, and antioxidants that help reduce oxidative stress, the kind of internal damage that accelerates aging. Doctors love to point out that oxidative stress is like rust forming inside the body. Citrus fruits act like natural anti-rust, helping the cells repair themselves and stay youthful. They support collagen production, healthy skin, and strong immunity, which is why Japanese elders tend to have skin that appears smooth and vibrant even at advanced ages. But perhaps the most powerful immune-supporting food in their daily routine is something incredibly humble: green vegetables, especially dark leafy greens like komatsuna, spinach, and mizuna. These greens provide vitamins A, C, K, folate, and minerals that support immunity, bone strength, and detoxification. And they're eaten constantly. Centenarians grow up eating rice blended with barley, a mixture called mugi gohan. It was once considered a poorer household's food, but today doctors point out that those poorer households produced some of the longest living people in the world. Barley slows digestion in a gentle, natural way, meaning blood sugar stays stable after meals. This stability is one of the strongest predictors of long-term health, because every dramatic spike wears down your pancreas, strains your liver, and accelerates internal aging. When researchers study Japanese elders with exceptional health, they consistently find one thing: their blood sugar remains stable well into old age. Brown rice is another staple that quietly supports longevity. Unlike white rice, which is polished until most nutrients are removed, brown rice retains its bran layer, where the fiber, vitamins, and minerals live. It contains magnesium for heart health, selenium for immune support, and plenty of fiber to keep digestion smooth. Japanese elders often eat brown rice in small bowls, sometimes combined with seeds or beans, which creates a slow, steady release of energy instead of a fast spike. And then there's buckwheat, the grain behind soba noodles. Buckwheat is rich in rutin, a compound that helps strengthen blood vessels and improve circulation. It's also high in protein compared to other grains and contains essential amino acids that support muscle maintenance. Doctors often mention that elders who regularly eat soba tend to have healthier blood pressure and better vascular flexibility, but grains are only half of this final pillar. The other half is something more subtle, something deeply woven into Japanese culture: the use of herbs, roots, and natural seasonings, not just for taste, but for health. Take shiso, for example, a fragrant herb used in salads, sushi, and teas. It's packed with antioxidants and has anti-inflammatory properties that support the immune system. Shiso has been used for centuries to soothe digestion and protect against respiratory issues. Even today, many older Japanese people grow it in small garden pots and add it to meals without thinking twice. Another powerful seasoning is sesame, especially black sesame seeds. Rich in healthy fats, calcium, magnesium, and antioxidants, sesame seeds are sprinkled on rice, mixed into dressings, or ground into pastes. Doctors often point out that older Japanese adults tend to maintain strong bones despite eating less dairy than many Western countries, and sesame seeds are part of that explanation. And let's not forget one of the simplest yet most powerful ingredients used daily in Japanese kitchens: vinegar, especially rice vinegar. Some elders drink a tablespoon mixed with warm water each morning, while others use it generously in salads or pickled vegetables. Vinegar helps improve insulin sensitivity, reduce blood sugar spikes, and promote smoother digestion. Research now shows that even small daily amounts of vinegar can have long-term metabolic benefits. All of these foods, whole grains, herbs, natural seasonings, work together like a symphony. None of them are dramatic. None of them promise overnight miracles. But when eaten consistently day after day, they shape a body that stays strong, flexible, and resilient. And perhaps the most important secret of all is this: Japanese centenarians don't simply eat these foods. They enjoy them. They savor small portions. They eat slowly. They stop when they're no longer hungry. They choose foods that make them feel light, energized, and balanced. This gentle, mindful relationship with food is just as important as the food itself. So when Japanese doctors RN, eat these every day and you will live to 100, they're not talking about magic ingredients. They're talking about a way of living, a consistent rhythm of nourishment that your body grows to love, a rhythm that protects your heart, supports your gut, strengthens your immunity, and slows the aging process naturally. If you combine fiber-rich vegetables, fermented foods, light proteins like fish and tofu, circulation-supporting ingredients like ginger and garlic, antioxidant-rich fruits and greens, and steady whole grains, you create the same internal environment found in the world's longest-living people. Before you rush to change everything you eat, take a moment to imagine what your life could look like 20, 30, even 40 years from now if you simply added these foods into your daily routine. Not a diet, not a restriction, just gentle nourishment that keeps your body younger, longer. If you want more videos like this, videos that reveal the real, science-backed habits of the world's longest-living people, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. And now I want to hear from you. Which one of these Japanese longevity foods are you most excited to try every day? And which one surprised you the most?